Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So you guys probably know that Kail Laurie's son that she shares with Chris Lopez, last weekend the boy was at his dad's house. Kail Laurie went to Ulta, spent a ton of money on hair care products for baby Creed. She got on her TikTok, was showing off these products, and the very next day Chris cut his son's hair, and he didn't just like give him a little trim. He cut, gone. All the curls are gone. And now Kail Laurie is responding to what happened. She spoke about it on her podcast. Not only did she speak about it on her podcast, but Chris spoke about it on his podcast as well. And there's some conflicting stories here because Chris is saying that he reached out to Kail and she said she was going to come and she just never showed up. And she said that's not the case, that he did tell her that he was going to cut the hair. She asked for time and location and he never gave her the information, and that she really didn't think that he would do it anyway. She really thought that he was trying to just get her worked up. So she didn't really think that he would do it. So she was obviously shocked when the baby came home, and this wasn't just a cut, you guys. I mean, this was, the baby's almost bald at this point. And the baby had the prettiest curly hair. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read what Kail said on her podcast, and then I'll tell you guys what Chris said on his podcast. This was on her Coffee Convos podcast with her co-star, Lindsay Chrisley. So Kail stated that she believed Chris did what he did just to get a reaction out of her. And Chris, on his podcast, PTSD Podcast, he also addressed Haircut Gate Part 2, stating that Kail chose not to come. So Kail told her podcast co-host, Lindsay Chrisley, "Everyone is waiting for me to talk about the baby's haircut. I think my son is traumatized from the haircut, to be honest. Let me tell you guys, a child can be traumatized from a haircut. My brother was traumatized from his first haircut, so it can happen." She added that Chris claimed that she was a no-show to the haircut, and that was complete BS. So she said, "This is not something that I would have wanted. I bought products for curly hair over the weekend. I did not say yes to the haircut. I did not consent to it, but he would have done it anyways. I do think it was solely to get a reaction out of me. I don't want to give it the public reaction he wants." So congratulations, Kail, for not going to jail over this, because this is not the first time a situation like this happened. As you guys all know, their first child that they have together, Lux has long hair, and it used to be long and curly. And one weekend he had Lux and he just chopped those curls right off. And he's not taking them to a barber shop to have a professional cut the boy's hair. From my understanding, he's doing it himself, which is like regular scissors. I mean, Lux's hair was like choppy. It was not a good cut. And neither was Creed's. Creed's wasn't a good cut either. Now, Kail said that Chris informed her that he had an appointment to get Creed's haircut, but he wouldn't tell her when or where it was happening to allow her to be there as well. She said, "You tell me at 8:30 in the morning on Sunday, but won't give me a time or place to meet you. And you email me to say that you'll send me a video of the haircut. That's not how this works. I hate when dads are like that. We just want to co-parent." But obviously not. Kail said that she really didn't think that Chris was serious about getting Creed's haircut and figured that he was really just trying to get her worked up. She said, "I didn't think he was going to do it. This man didn't even take him to get a haircut. He did it himself. I just said when and where because I knew if I said no, he was going to do it anyways." So Kail said that Haircut Gate 2 actually started the day before when Lux had a baseball game and Chris did not take him to it like he was supposed to. Kail said she went to the game only to find out that Chris did not show up with Lux. What? Why not? Why are you not bringing Lux to his ball games? What's up with that? Kail said, "Mind games, my emotions were all over the effing place, and then he does the haircut thing the next day. You didn't get the reaction you wanted out of me for the game. You wanted a reaction. You wanted to tick me off, and you wanted to take away from his routine. I don't understand." And I'm like believing her at this point. Like, okay, so why you want to take one of the boys to get a haircut, his first haircut the next day, but the day before you can't take him to a ball game. So on Chris's podcast, PTSD podcast, he told his version of events, stating that he didn't cut Creed's hair to bother Kail. He stated that Kail's fans have been coming at him hard because what he did to Creed's hair. He said Creed got his first haircut. The haircut made media. It's all over and they coming at me crazy. You should see the messages I'm getting. They tripping like you cut his curly hair. For real, for real. It wasn't even that curly. It was just long. And if it's really curly, it's going to grow back curly. Bah! Wrong, 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 wrong. Let me tell you how wrong that is. That is so wrong. My son and my daughter both had the curliest of curly hairs. I mean, it literally looked like my son had what, we would call a perm on his head. And when we got his first cut, that was it. We have not seen curls since. My daughter, she had long, just bouncy, curly hair. And we cut her hair and she wanted it cut. So, and I didn't cut my daughter's hair until she was like 5 because it was just thick, long, and curly, and I loved it. But when she got to that age, she really wanted a haircut, so we cut it, and the curls, bye-bye. So no, that's not the case. Also, look at Lux. Lux had, it was like straight, but like towards the end, he had those curls, those really pretty curls. And Chris chopped that off and it hasn't grown back with any more curls. So that's not the truth. And his hair, he said his hair wasn't that curly. It was just kind of long. The reason why it wasn't, you couldn't really see that the curls were like, could potentially be tight curls. That's because I don't think she was, caring for the hair the way she needed to for those curls to be the way they could have been. So she bought products, but she may have been brushing through his hair with a normal brush, which you don't do with curly hair. So with a curly hair, you have to like pick it or, wet to dry brush, and you only do it when it's wet. You have to take care of curly hair a specific way to keep those curls. So when I look at pictures of Creed, I can tell, yes, his hair is curly, but it's not being tended to the way that it needs to be tended to, so you can actually, so the curls are not in the best form, right? And then I saw, where in that TikTok, Kail said, I needed to figure out how to take care of his hair and his curls. And someone said, why are you just now waiting? Like, my God, the boy's a year old. Why are you just now figuring out how to tend to his hair? Well, the baby's like maybe a year old, but he hasn't had that hair for a year. For the first probably 6 months or so, it probably wasn't like that. It's just in the past probably few months, it's grown out to where she's, even my daughter. So my daughter, like, she has curly hair. My oldest daughter had curly hair that I didn't have to do anything to. I just knew not to brush it with a brush, but I didn't have to put anything in it. She just had those curls. Now, my other daughter, my youngest daughter, we have to put product in her hair and treat it a certain way to really accentuate her curls. If not, it just kind of looks a little wild, So at first, she probably, when his hair really started growing out and getting to where it had the potential to have those curls, she probably wasn't treating it right and picking it out or wet brush. So she just probably didn't think about it at first. And then she probably realized, like, okay, his hair's getting a little wild, so let me see how I can maintain it. It ain't like the boy has been going around for this full year with wild hair, because when he was born, he didn't have this hair. Even the first few months of his life, his hair was not like this. So, some parents have kids, and when their hair starts growing out, it may take them a few months to be like, okay, I'm not keeping up with this the way that I need to be because it's not looking the way I think it could look. So let me figure out what to do. So I'm not hating on curl. All we talking about is curls lately. I'm not hating on Kail for the fact that it took her some time to figure this out, but she did. And if you look at pictures of her kids, Isaac, Lincoln, Creed, their hair is always, it always looks good. It always looks well maintained. And even Creed, before she, obviously she hasn't figured out how she really needs to maintain it yet, but even his hair looked fine. Like, it looked okay. Chris said that he told Kail about the haircut and she was a no-show. He said it was a little drama. I reached out to Kail, told her we were getting the haircuts. Looks got shaped, diced him up. I low-key waited for her. No, you didn't. She said, I'm on my way. I didn't say nothing back. She said she was coming. I waited for like an hour and a half before this even happened. For real, for real. She never showed up, so I gave the cut, and that was it. I just know it was time for a cut. I wasn't being spiteful or nothing. It was just something like, I'm being a dad at this point, regardless of how people feel. It was time for a cut. Chris also talked about Lux's long hair and how he's not a fan of his long hair. He said, I've got another son with hair, and that is annoying as hell. On some real, sometimes when he comes, that MFing hair be a mess to handle. And I'm like, we're not doing this with a second kid. I already explained that to her even when we were on good terms. She wanted to be there, but it was more in a sense, I waited and whatever. I didn't really want to be around you type of crap. You're disrespectful. I didn't really want to be around you, but whatever. This is co-parent crap. So he basically says, Lux comes over and his hair be annoying. It's in a mess. But the only time I really see pictures of their hair kind of messy is kind of when they're with him, I think. Like, I went back to Kail's Instagram and I was looking through all her pictures, and when they're out and about or anywhere, their hair always looks, she's always got their hair braided or it looks nice. Now, yes, sometimes if they're sitting on their bed playing video games, their hair's going to be a little wild. But I've never seen Kail take her kids out looking anything less than on point. Hair included. So I'm not believing that she's bringing them or sending them off to their dads with their hair just looking a mess. I don't know. And I feel that if Kail really felt that he was going to cut the hair, and if she had a place and a time, I think she probably would have went. Now, for everyone, a lot of people was like, yeah, first haircut. He should have did it himself, and he should have spoke to Kail about that, and she should have been allowed to be there. Some people's like, no, he's dad. Kail don't ask him for permission. But I'm like, he's not as much of a parent as Kail is to those kids. So when you're like 95% of the parent, I don't feel like you have to include the parent that's there 10% of the time on everything. Like, yes, try to reach out to them and say, hey, this is what we're doing. Hey, this is what's going on. But every little detail, no, because this is a some people call him like a weekend dad. But just from what my understanding is of Chris, and it seems like maybe he's doing better. He's getting the kids more, and that's great. But Kail does everything on her own when it comes to these kids. So I don't think he should just be able to make the decision to cut their hair and not notify her, come to an understanding. Like Kail said, she really didn't believe it. And then a part of her thought, but if he is going to do it, he's going to do it regardless of what I say. So Kail shouldn't even have to worry like, well, if I do say no and he really plans on doing it, he's going to do it anyways. It should be like, okay, let's come to some sort of an agreement. If you want his hair to be cut, how about this? How about we really meet at a salon? We can figure out which barbershop. We can figure out which barbershop we're going to use, and we'll go and we'll let them cut it. Like him, is he a barber? Not that I know of. So why is he cutting their hair? I don't think he should be. And if I was the mom, I have a baby daddy that's just that when he wants to be a dad. And no, I would be very upset if, my kids went there for the weekend and he gave them their first haircut. I would be bothered by it. But I'm also that type of mom that I would let him know everything. Birthday party, you want to come? Sure, come. Hey, we're doing this. I kept him so informed, but because he was not even he wasn't a 50% dad. He wasn't a 75% dad. He wasn't a 25% dad. He wasn't a 20% dad. He was like a 10% dad, so I felt because he didn't put in the effort of the work. Some dads are just, they want all the glory of being a dad, but they don't want to put in the work. And I think those dads don't get to make all these decisions. That's just my opinion, you guys. So I can understand Kail's frustration. First haircut, it should have been done by a professional. You get to keep locks of hair. You get a certificate at some places. Kail should have been able to be there. I don't think Chris should have done it. And if he's saying that he told her and she chose not to come, I don't know if I believe that. I believe that maybe she said he told her, but she didn't believe him, and he never gave a date, time, or location. So she just thought because he wasn't given that information that he probably wasn't really going to do it. And that if he was going to do it, she wasn't going to be able to stop him. So you guys leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Whose side are you on? Who do you believe? Do you believe Kail? Do you believe Chris? Is it kind of like a mixture? And do you guys think that Chris should just be able to cut their hair on his own without, you know, speaking to Kail and them agreeing on that? Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you give this video a huge thumbs up right now. Go ahead and do it in the down there. You guys have no idea how much those thumbs up help my channel. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, because it helps as well. And I'm trying to get to 60,000 subscribers. So please do me that huge favor. Thumbs up, subscribe, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye, everyone.